This is impossible light activity. And it's also above my head. This is group stalking. The entity is surrounding you with what is engineered light and maintaining presence in your path. Helicopter, that's what LAPD is doing, flying repeatedly around my apartment and over my apartment. And they've repeatedly been doing so. I want you to see the light source that was over my apartment as I showed you at 11:40, that video where LAPD was flying in circles in relevant position, group stalking, engaging in what is the maintenance in the path by flying in circles for a series of 20 minutes. Both of those videos at 11:49 and the second one at 12:27. And I'm showing you what's the light source at the same time over the San Bernardino Superior Court at 12:47 p.m., which is impossible that would be the sun. This is the light source that's still over me. That was at 12:47 when I showed you it was over the front of my apartment. This is 3 hours later. This is the absence of any sun that was ever in Florida. Florida is 3 hours ahead of us. So it would be 6:49 p.m. in Florida. And this is the light source that's not the sun that's remaining over me, speaking to what is the outward demonstration of demon possession by a corrupt law enforcement agency that is obsessively stalking, engaging in surveillance using helicopters. That's why they were flying in circles in relevant position, flying in circles, pacing around and back and forth, and flying all in relevant position around my apartment and over my apartment in the specific environment where it is not possibly the sun. Remember the documentation where this is the same apartment where I'm looking at the so-called sunrise at 6:45 in the morning. This is called group stalking. The demon possessed that were documented engaging in what is assault and battery as an entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and that's why they're all going to federal prison. All right, they're engaging in the system together where the entity's center of the universe is me, and I am inside of this apartment, and this is where the light source remains over me inside of this apartment all day long. It is no iteration of the natural environment, nor is this sunlight that's appearing on the ceiling. All right, this is impossible light activity that's creating light activity above you. This is where demons are stalking. Demons are stalking using helicopter. That's amplified audible activity, relevant positioning, and this is light activity. While they're stalking also in the sky space and pacing all around in relevant position, both living at the property, everybody's going to federal prison for that, and then also pacing all around, which is what is occurring on Alvarado Gardens, which is what is occurring by living in relevant positions, such as I believe that's 1831 Alvarado Street. They're group stalkers that live in relevant position. They are going to federal prison because they were documented engaging in an assault and battery by an entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. The light source is directly over their third-party facilitating venue as opposed to a private residence. That's the state of California. That's a third-party group stalker in relevant position monitoring in the specific environment. You lose any First Amendment right, any legal argument with regard to First Amendment privacy rights where you are not legal. This isn't the natural environment. It's the specific environment. The state's criminal pattern of conduct is underway, and where the specific environment is, the state is stalking. The state is stalking directly and vicariously, and that's why you have what's impossible. This is supposedly sunlight. Remember, this light activity is happening both when this light source is outside of my living room window. This has nothing to do with the light source, and it's absolutely impossible light activity that the sun above us is creating sunlight that's going to hit an object and then create a reflection both above you and then supposedly sunlight beneath you. That's the identification that are demons that are pacing in and out of Silverview townhomes. All right, this is impossible light activity. The entity is maintaining that ongoing light activity and stalking obsessively in helicopter. You're looking at while the blinds are closed. These are closed blinds, and the sun is above us. Downward trajectory of sunlight, and you're looking at what is the maintenance of engineered light, okay? This is the ongoing identification of what are demons who are group stalking, and this is the state of California that's practicing what is demonic. What you saw UPS engaging in while they were driving a brown delivery vehicle for mail. You saw engineered light on the asphalt while they were moving that vehicle. That's what this light is. That's what this light is. This is engineered light that's remaining above me. And while people are crossing path, those people are of a specific condition. Those people are engaged in what is demonic activity, and it's criminal monitoring. It's serving for surveillance. They're also engaged in what is surveillance by federal stalking on the venue of the internet with communication devices, invading privacy as an entity, maintaining what is ongoing real-time joint knowledge of any and everything concerning the targeted individual, which is also relevant to the target individual's job, my employment for a property management company. That property management company and the entity itself are violating relevant federal laws with regard to having and sharing and having criminal knowledge of what are the private personal identification of federal housing recipients and applicants. And that's inherent to keeping a property manager under surveillance and having access and sharing all of that information. As I regularly review that and discuss address it and publish it on my website as a part of my job. The entity that is including the state that you see stalking in helicopter, which is what they're doing, flying over my office. You see them flying over my apartment because this is where I'm located. That's why you see the light source over my apartment and not my office, because this is where I'm located. And the sun is not going to be present rising at 6:45 in the morning through the living room of the same apartment and still present 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. That is 9 hours later. The entity maintains the light source, by the way, outside of this window in relevant position. That's what that is. And so you're looking at the entity flying over in relevant position. That's what that is. They're driving on Alvarado Street in relevant position. They're driving on Silverview Townhomes in relevant position, crossing path. They're driving in and out of the property. All this is group stalking. That's what's going on by the entity, while the engineered light remains all around. This is closed blinds. The sun that's above is creating a downward trajectory of light, and you're looking at what is dynamic. This is the leaves of the trees through what are closed blinds. The magnification of light is bigger than the holes in these small closed blind slats, okay? And then you have the upward trajectory of the same. This is the significance of what you see occurring in the parking garage at the Victoria Gardens at 5:19 p.m., the same time where the entity is maintaining a light source over me, while the people of the state acting via Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal and his daughters, including his wife, are group stalking and engaging in an assault and battery on behalf of a government that's keeping you under surveillance. That was the state of California waging a personal attack, a physical attack, and an attempted theft of my property where documentation was underway. By the way, you're going to federal prison for that. But the entity is doing it in the specific environment where, by the way, the sun is not going to be present, hovering over me on that street, which is Alvarado, right out here, creating any of this light activity. But this is the same light activity that you see inside of that parking garage at the same time where I am here at Alvarado Street, 5:19 p.m. And when I'm capturing this video yesterday at 5:21 p.m., the same time of year, this is speaking to what is the pattern of engineered light. That's why you see it in the depths of a parking garage. Sunlight does not bend downward into the depths of parking garages. That should all be shade. None of that is sunlight. In the same way that this is not sunlight, this is an engineered light, and you're witnessing the demonic. This is impossible to naturally occur. This is how you're aware of the condition of those that are stalking. That's the identification of the stalker. That's the identification of who is being targeted. That's how you're recognizing it through the environment. And this is a part of the environment. This is what you see shared amongst group stalkers who are driving vehicles such as UPS, Center for Better Life, which is LA County. You have what is the entity also documented engaging in this criminal pattern, such as Universal Waste Systems, a commercial actor. The people of the state that you can name, pick a third party, any party, including Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal. Engineered light moving across buildings while you're driving a car. Engineered light stationary presence above me in relevant position while demons are pacing all around in traffic on foot, living around me in the apartment complex, and flying, stalking by helicopter and airplanes all day long. Where the light source is remaining, which is not possibly the sun, providing no provision. There is no provision where the sun is ever going to be at 5:19 p.m. outside of the parking garage of Victoria Gardens in Rancho Cucamonga at 5:19, which is exactly what I documented while at that time the entity was maintaining a light source over me while I went to the Rancho Cucamonga Paul Bunyan Library, which was the pattern of conduct, showing you the light source through the windows of that library. None of that is capable of being the natural environment, not only by virtue of the maintenance of that light source over that library at the Victoria Gardens in Rancho Cucamonga, California, from morning until closing. That's the P.O.C., but also while the entity is now engaging in what is a sunrise and a sunset at one address. It does not change when the entity covers up the fake sun for the first half of the day and keeps it appearing right over me in the same position at any other time in the day. Okay, that's the same pattern of conduct, and you're witnessing ongoing stalking. The entity that you see stalking in helicopter is the same entity that engaged in assault and battery, and they're continuously engaging in that criminal activity after also engaging in a pattern of kidnapping and criminal defamation with that entity that you saw physically attacking me yesterday. It's the same state of California, to date, engaging in what is ongoing impunity and malice and psychotic and obsessive levels of criminal activity with regard to the ongoing purpose of seeking to obstruct justice, knowing that they're being documented, trying to stop one from documenting it. That's why they're so hostile. And then they even engaged in chasing me down the street and physically assaulting me. Okay, that's the entity that's a group stalking in helicopter. Okay, in the very specific environment, and that is also the demon possessed. It is currently 3:58 p.m. The entity is maintaining a light source here, and I'm just using the parking garage because you have the documentation of what is Officer McMillan at 9 a.m. at Arrow Boulevard and Sierra Avenue in Fontana, California, and the maintenance of that light source as a matter of documentation at the Fontana Lewis Library, which is on the same block as as late as 7 in the evening, where the entity engaged in the demonic imitation of a sunset. When you're looking at Sergeant Rice of the Fontana Police Department with directed light on his face. What's on his face is this engineer light inside of my apartment. Stalking in the path. These are the demon-possessed law enforcement agencies that are engaging in terrorism in the state, and they engage in kidnapping and criminal defamation and exercising fictitious authority that they don't have while they're engaged in criminal surveillance. Those are the demons that you see stalking in helicopter, the Los Angeles Police Department, and it's 3:58 p.m. This is P.O.C.